Hello class, this is Scott Caruso from MDF1 1302 term, here to talk to you for my week 1 reflection video. So as far as week 1's anyway go, this one I felt was very successful. Clearly it's a different kind of beast now that we've got the basics of Objective-C down, and it's really a building blocks or building off of previous material rather. But I feel like I'm really starting to come into my own with the Objective-C. The concepts make sense. I'm not stumbling over syntax or things like that anymore. It's really just about applying the concepts and making them work. And in that regard, I guess I feel like it was a big success because I managed to deliver on this week's requirements without too much of a headache. We'll go ahead and we'll take a look at the application here in a second, and I'll talk to you about what I did. That was a baseball player list application, and where I think I could improve it in the future, and things like that. So let's go take a look. So here we are over in my code, and we're going to start in the main view controller real quick, just because I want to show you the one area that, given a little bit more time, I feel like I could improve upon. And that's actually right here. If you see, I've got two separate arrays, one of a list of players and one of a list of positions that are essentially feeding the dynamic, in air quotes, data for the application. Given a little bit more time and given a little bit more patience, instead of doing two separate arrays, I probably would have created these as kind of like a dictionary style object with keys and items to go with them. Simply because each one of these, for instance, like Evan Longoria, the first player in the list right here, and the first position on the list, third baseman, they go together. They will always go together. Evan Longoria is never going to be a center fielder, as it were. So for that reason, I would have combined these into one, if I had a little bit more time to play with it, into one large object rather than two separate objects. Outside of that, everything else is pretty straightforward. As you can see, I call this the secondary view detail view controller and set the text through that. I call, or in order to push data to them in the detail view controller, I actually synthesize the player name and position as properties within the detail view controller, and it works out very well. Let's take a look and run the application just so you can kind of get a feel for how it actually functions. Okay, so here's the main list. You see all the players here and their respective positions associated with them. If you click on an item in the list, it takes you to a secondary view that has information about the player. The dynamic data being pulled in is the player name and the position. This big block of text here is just placeholder for what would be biographical information. This over here is just a silhouette where a picture of the player could conceivably go. If you go to a different player, you see it pulls up the respective information for that player. You can also opt to try to delete a player from the roster. You see when you click the delete button, it actually changes to tell you that you can go back to normal mode. Let's say we want to remove James Loney from the list. You can delete him, go back into normal mode, and can still go select other players around him with no issue. So that right there is my week 1 project. I hope everyone else had a good week as well, and I will see you again for week 2.